Chapter 869. Am not a stupid deer. The Leopard King looked at the tufts of leopard fur on the ground and trembled with anger. Little devil, is it really okay for you to lie like this? Yin Chujio glanced at the Leopard King's bare skin and touched her nose guiltily. She took out the corpses of several giant ice wolves from her storage ring. I'll let you have a taste of this. It wasn't easy for me to get these. After the Leopard King finished eating the meat, its attitude immediately changed from one of hostility to being obedient. Damn, this wolf meat was much better than the wolf meat in the Elixir Valley. Although this little devil crossed the line sometimes, she was still quite generous. What she said made sense. If the old didn't make way for the new, then he would never know if a stronger coat of fur would grow. When everyone saw the majestic 8th level Ironhide leopard being obsequious like a puppy, they felt embarrassed on its behalf. Yin Chujio looked at the fawning Leopard King, and an idea flashed through her mind. Yin Chujio patted the Leopard King's big head and sighed. Sigh. Little bun, it's fate that we met. I can't bear for you to be kept in the dark. This Elixir Valley will self-destruct in another month. I'm afraid all of you will die just like us. Fairy Yin, didn't Luli say that this Elixir Valley will only sink underground? Someone asked in surprise. Yin Chujio was about to cry from the stupidity of these onlookers. Damn it, are all these sect members so gullible? I'm afraid that the godly Devil Hall is trying to fool Luli. Why would they only trap us after spending so much effort? If we refer to the situation in the ancient sword tomb, this place will surely be destroyed. Thinking back to that time in the ancient sword tomb, after the self-destruction array formation was activated, the sky was constantly struck by lightning. What was even more terrifying was that the ground cracked and there was raging fire below. When everyone heard Yin Chujio's words, their faces paled with fear. If that happened, does that mean they would all be dead? Sigh. When that time comes, it won't be just us but the demonic beasts and spiritual herbs will also wiped out. It's a disaster. Yin Chujio let out a long sigh. The Leopard King had been thinking of a way to escape, and had not paid attention to what Luli said. Now that it heard Yin Chujio's words, it was also afraid. Little bun, you are much stronger than us. No matter what, you have lived for hundreds of years, right? That's long enough, right? Yin Chujio blinked her eyes and said. The Leopard King wanted to maul her to death. What the fuck did she mean that it was worth it? Who the fuck would want to die so pointlessly? Fairy Yin, is there no way? The only way is to find a place with abnormal spiritual energy fluctuations. That place is very likely to be where the enchantment barrier is at. At that time, we can work together to break the enchantment and have a chance to survive. Otherwise, what awaits us is death, Yin Chujio said resolutely. Fairy Yin, we have been looking for a long time, but we haven't found the enchantment. Do you have any other ideas? Everyone placed their hopes on Yin Chujio. Yin Chujio glanced at the Leopard King. The Leopard King could not help but tremble. What was she looking at me for? I do not know where the enchantment is. Why was the little devil looking at me? Little bun, you don't want to die, do you? The Leopard King rolled its eyes. It was not a simple stupid deer. Of course, it did not want to die. Now we can only survive if we work together. How about we make a deal? Yin Chujio said with a smile. Chapter 870. Fermented doubt. The Leopard King looked at Yin Chujio's smile. No matter how he looked at it, it looked like a smile filled with nothing but malice. He did not know what kind of evil schemes this little devil was up to. Little bun, you have lived in this Elixir Valley for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands of years. Have you never noticed any abnormal spiritual energy fluctuations? Even if you haven't noticed it, it's still not too late to try now. Help me coerce those high-level demon beasts to help look for the abnormal spiritual energy fluctuations. As a reward, after we break through the enchantment, we bring all of you along and resettle you in another valley. How about it? Will you for death here? Or do you want to make an easy deal with me? Yin Chujio smiled like a sly fox. The Leopard King rolled its big eyes, as it considered the authenticity of Yin Chujio's words. Yin Chujio did not force it. She believed that the Leopard King would agree. The intelligence of a level 8 demonic beast was already quite high, so it surely knew how to make the smarter choice. Sure enough, the Leopard King held at Yin Chujio twice and then nodded its huge head. I knew you weren't stupid, then hurry up and go. I'll wait for your good news here. Yin Chujio waved her hands, indicating that the Leopard King could leave. The Leopard King led its underlings and disappeared from everyone's sight with a few swooshes. Some people said, Fairy Yin, is that Leopard King lying to you? Maybe it took the opportunity to escape. Yeah, how can a demonic beast cooperate with us humans? It will not come back. Fairy Yin, you've ruined the Leopard King's fur so badly. It would be a miracle if it came back. Yin Chujio looked at them indifferently. Let's just do what we can. Since you're so energetic, help me curse the rune spirit. When it sends out the lightning cloud after us, I'll soak up the lightning it for you. Some people are only good at using their mouths but not much else. Everyone, keep an eye on each other. I want to see if anyone else is taking advantage of the situation. Could there be another spy from the godly devil hall among us? When everyone heard this, their hearts were on the verge of breaking down. She was going to take the blame for them? Those Wuyin did have eyes, so why would it only target her? Every injustice has a debtor. If they were the ones who cursed, it would target them. However, they could not disagree to the plan. Otherwise, it would be bad if they were labeled as spies from the godly devil hall. It was all the fault of those talkative people. What nonsense are you spouting? It's none of your business if the Leopard King doesn't come back. Fuck, he's just a coward then. Everyone was afraid of being suspected, so they all tried their best to curse the rune spirit. Unfortunately, it had no effect at all. Yin Chujio thought to herself that either the rune spirit had a problem with its ears, or it had a very strong mental endurance. It could endure being scolded like that. It had really strong willpower. 3 days passed, but there was still no news from the Leopard King. Everyone was discouraged. It seemed that beasts were indeed just beasts after all. They had no integrity at all. They must have used that excuse to escape. Some people still had hope for Yin Chujio in the beginning, but they started doubting her when they saw that all her ideas had not worked. What was cursing the rune spirit going to do? Trading with demonic beasts? They were all absurd. Soon after, rumors began to ferment. This Yin Chujio is rumored to be amazing. It was said that she saved everyone by herself at the ancient sword tomb. I think it's all an exaggeration. Yeah, for so long, other than cursing Zhenlei and trusting the Leopard King, I haven't seen any real ability from her. She even played with the Ironhide Leopard. In the end, she was tricked by it. Exactly, pigs would fly if the leopard came back. If it does return, I will eat the dirt on the ground. Chapter 871. The return of the Leopard King. At that point, Yin Chujio was already immune to gossip. On the contrary, the Yun siblings Feng Ming and the others who stood up for her had almost fought with those people. Damn it. What a bunch of ingrates. Junior sister Little Jiu, don't take it to heart. That leopard will definitely come back. Feng Ming comforted her. Yin Chujio smiled indifferently. Senior brother Feng Ming, when have I ever cared about these things? I know the Leopard King will come back. It's just that I don't know whether it will bring good or bad news with it. When those people heard Yin Chujio's words, they all curled their lips. This Yin Chujio was so blindly confident in herself. Let's see how you react to a slap in the face when the time comes. It has already been 3 days. If that Leopard King was coming back, it would have done so long ago. Right at that moment, they heard someone exclaim, "Why is the ground shaking? Could it be that the array formation has begun to destroy the Elixir Valley?" Everyone also noticed that the ground shook and immediately panicked. Every one of them was like headless flies. Yin Chujio frowned. It was still too soon. The array formation should not self-destruct yet. What on earth was going on? She looked into the distance and saw a cloud of dust. She could faintly hear the roars of beasts from that direction. She was delighted. It should be the Leopard King should have returned, but why was the ground shaking? After a moment, Yin Chujio finally discovered the reason. Thousands of high-level demonic beasts were sprinting toward them while following the Leopard King's lead. When everyone saw that the valley was not going to self-destruct yet, they calmed down a little. However, so many demonic beasts were approaching. If this horde of beasts attacked them, they would not stand a chance. Did Yin Chujio just doom them all? A moment later, the beast horde stopped in front of everyone. Yin Chujio made her way to the front to greet the Leopard King. Little Bun, I didn't expect you to be so good at doing things. What do you mean by bringing so many beasts here? Have you found the place where the spiritual energy fluctuates abnormally? The Leopard King nodded proudly and called out a few times. It was doing nothing more than just showing off at that point. Little Bun, lead the way. I will keep my promise. After we break through the barrier, I will bring all of you out with us. Yin Chujio saw the Leopard King nod its head and was delighted. As long as they found the barrier, their freedom would be guaranteed. The Leopard King nodded its head and let out a few roars at the beast horde. Then it made a few gestures with its claws. Dozens of beast kings of different species also responded with roars of their own. They did not share the same language, so it was not easy to communicate with them. Fortunately, they could still figure out what the Leopard King was trying to tell them. The beast horde turned around and led the way toward their destination. Yin Chujio followed the horde closely from behind. The Yin siblings, Fengming, and the people from the Spirit Radiance sect followed her without any hesitation. The rest of the people hesitated for a moment. Was this a good idea? However, there were no other ideas at the moment. It was the only choice in front of them. Therefore, after they hesitated for a moment, those people also followed. Everyone followed the beast horde for a full day. Some people were still suspicious. Could it be that these demonic beasts were leading them into a trap? Why had they not arrived yet even after such a long time? Although they were suspicious, they did not dare to leave the group. They might still have a chance of survival if they followed Yin Chujio. Otherwise, they could only wait for death. Fortunately, the next morning, the beast horde stopped moving. The Leopard King ran to a small mound, and then pushed out one of its paws. Everyone saw that the paw was blocked. Everyone immediately cheered. A barrier. It must be a barrier. We are saved. We are going to get out. Chapter 872. A smile to bury the hatchet. Fairy Yin is really clever. She thought of such a good idea. It's really admirable. Yes, only a genius like Fairy Yin would come with such a brilliant idea. If it weren't for Fairy Yin, we would have been trapped here and died already. A genius is a genius. How can ordinary people like us compare to her? Fairy Yin is the person I admire the most in my life. Yin Chuki really couldn't bear to see these people taking advantage of the situation. She snorted coldly and said, "Back then, who was it that said that little Gio was only here to pick spirit herbs? Who forced little Gio to kneel to the rune spirit? Who said that little Gio's ideas were all bad ideas? There's a limit to how shameless a person can be. I remember someone saying that if the Leopard King returns, he will eat dirt. Isn't it time to fulfill his promise?" Everyone's faces turned green and white. People generally wanted their reputations intact and unsullied after all. After being scolded by Yin Chuki, everyone felt a little embarrassed, especially the man who offered to eat dirt. He wished he could find a hole to hide in. After Yin Chuki said that, she gave Yin Chujio a look. Yin Chujio nodded her head indiscernibly. She thought to herself, the brothers and sisters of the Yin family are all honest. Only seventh sister is this clever. She wants me to use this opportunity to win people's hearts. Everyone, my seventh sister is straightforward and has doted on me since I was young. Don't mind it, she sounded too harsh. Yin Chujio said lightly. The corner of the Yin siblings' eyes twitched. Doted on you since you were young? Little Gio, is it really good for you to lie so openly? Those people were eager to get out of the awkward situation they were in. They immediately fell into her trap and laughed. Fairy Yin, what Miss Chuki said makes sense. We were blinded by frustration and said some unnecessary things. We're really sorry. Yes, Fairy Yin, we are inexperienced. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You actually managed to convince the Leopard King. We have wronged you. Exactly that. Fairy Yin, if you don't vent your anger on us, I will really eat dirt. The man who said that he would eat dirt had his face turned red as he stammered. Yin Chujio smiled lightly. Everyone, don't be so serious. It's just some words. I won't take it to heart. As the saying goes, a smile is enough to bury the hatchet. Let bygones be bygones. Right now, The most important thing is for us to work together to break the barrier. Everyone, stay where you are and rest. Wait for me to test the strength of this barrier before we discuss what to do. The crowd did not expect Yin Chujio to be so magnanimous. They felt even more ashamed and expressed that they would repay her in the future. Yin Chujio sneered in her heart. Repay. It was already good enough they did not stab her in the back. Some people's hearts could not be warmed no matter how hard they tried. However, there were only a few villains who acted according to the wind. From then on, most people treated Yin Chujio as their savior. Yin Chujio waved her hand at the Leopard King. Little bun, get out of the way. Let me try something. The Leopard King ran to the front of the herd, and thought to himself that it would be good to let them see the little devil's strength. Otherwise, they would think that he was a coward that did not dare to fight back after being reduced to such a sorry state. They would know once they saw her capabilities. Fight back? What a joke. If he fought back, he would not only be a leopard but a completely hairless leopard. Yin Chujio waved her right hand, and a bolt of heavenly purple lightning struck the barrier. Then, she waved her left hand, and another bolt of heavenly purple lightning struck at the barrier. Then another and another. Everyone was stunned. Chapter 873. The True Appearance of the Little Fiend Dam. Was this Yin Chujio human? How was this a 5th-level spirit cultivator's spiritual power? It was more like a 5th-level spirit emperor realm practitioner. Moreover, why could she attack without forming a seal, and without pausing between attacks? Wasn't this too outrageous for a normal human? Everyone, especially those who had once spoken ill of Yin Chujio, felt a chill run down their spines. Damn, it was fortunate that Yin Chujio did not bother punishing them, or else they would have been turned into ash by her lightning bolts. Those demonic beasts were even more shocked. They had originally thought that the Leopard King was too cowardly. After getting that embarrassing haircut from her lightning strikes, it helped that little devil run errands. Now that they saw it in action, it was a very wise choice, otherwise, its life would definitely be lost. Yin Chujio continuously threw lightning bolts for 2 hours. Everyone and the other beasts were so shocked that their tongues were sticking out. Oh God, how could this little devil have so much spiritual energy reserves? Could it be that her spiritual energy was inexhaustible? It was too terrifying. They must not offend her in the future, or else they would definitely end up 6 feet under. Yin Chujio felt that the time was almost right to halt her performance, so she stopped attacking. When she turned around, she saw that everyone was in a daze, as if they had seen a ghost. What's wrong? Did something happen? Yin Chujio asked the crowd in feigned confusion. The crowd shook their heads and smiled nervously. They were extremely obedient, afraid that they would be struck by Yin Chujio if they said the wrong thing. Yin Chujio could not help but laugh. It seemed that all doubts had been erased with a simple show of strength. If she had known that this would shut them up, she would have struck them a few times. I have already tested the strength of this barrier. I estimate that we will have to take turns to attack it for 3 days and 3 nights before we have a chance to break through it. Now we will divide into groups and attack according to our assigned schedules. There cannot be any pause in the attack or all the previous efforts will be wasted. If anyone gets lazy or careless during this period, don't blame me for accidentally hitting them with my lightning. Yin Chujio's smile changed from one of kindness to one filled with killing intent. The beast horde could not help but tremble in their hearts. This was the true appearance of a little fiend. They should just tuck their tails between their legs and obey her every command. They absolutely could not offend this little fiend. After Yin Chujio had divided everyone into groups, they began to take turns attacking the barrier. In an instant, light flashed and all kinds of spiritual power attacks were launched towards the barrier. The hidden rune spirit cried out in alarm. If this continued, wouldn't all these people and beasts escape? It had to stop them. Everyone noticed that the sky was getting darker, and they could not help but look up. They saw a large patch of dark clouds starting to gather. Was it going to rain, or was it going to rain lightning bolts? Yin Chujio frowned. This rune spirit was quite cunning. Was it going to stop them from attacking the barrier? She had to think of a way to let it focus on her alone. These people would not be able to withstand a lightning strike. A lightning bolt from the Wu Yin here might leave them half dead. Hey, you little weakling Wu Yin, are you finally making an appearance? You coward! Do you dare to strike me? Yin Chujio took out a handkerchief to wrap up her hair, then pointed at the dark clouds in the sky and provoked the gathering Wu Yin. The Wu Yin was unable to contain its anger. Previously, it did not strike you because it was afraid of expending spirit stones. Since you were looking for death, then it would target you first. After that, it would take care of the rest. Boom. A bolt of purple lightning struck towards Yin Chujio. As soon as Yin Chujio cursed the Wu Yin that had appeared, everyone and the beasts put some distance between them and Yin Chujio. That was a bolt of lightning from an array formation's Wu Yin. They did not want to be caught in the crossfire and turned into ash. Chapter 874. Would the little fiend still survive this time? After the Wu Yin threw the bolt of lightning at the loudmouthed girl, it was very pleased with itself. This time, it would at least strike this scourge half to death. As long as the leader died, those people and beasts would be easily mopped up. Just as it felt pleased with itself, it saw the loudmouthed girl holding her head high and running around while shouting, "It's too scary. I have to find a place to hide. Your stupid lightning will not be able to catch up to me." "Can't catch up to you? You little scoundrel, I'll kill you." The Wu Yin followed closely, chasing and throwing bolts of lightning along the way. The crowd and the beasts had never seen such a scene before in their whole lives. Oh my god! That Wu Yin had struck her more than 100 lightning times, right? But that little fiend was still alive and kicking. This was too abnormal, right? At that moment, the Wu Yun's heart was on the verge of collapse. It had originally thought that this little weakling could be killed with just a few bolts of lightning, but it did not expect that after striking her so many times, it still did not die. The most detestable thing was that it unknowingly fell for this girl's trap. It was being lured further and further away by her, and the spiritual energy it consumed was increasing. It was unable to do anything even if it wanted to strike those other humans and beasts. It was truly detestable. Since that was the case, I will fight it out with you. I will definitely strike you to death. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A Wu Yin that was even thicker than before began throwing larger bolts of lightning towards Yin Chujio. The people in the distance trembled in fear. Oh my god, this lightning cloud was much larger than the one before. Could the little fiend withstand it? Everyone prayed in their hearts. Oh god, please bless the little fiend with the ability to withstand those heavenly lightning strikes. If she were to be finished, they would also be finished. The Wu Yin would get rid of them easily compared to the little fiend. Just as everyone was on tenterhooks, they heard Yin Chujio say in a trembling voice, "Damn it! My body is numb from the lightning. This time it's bad. I can't move, I'm going to be vulnerable to repeated lightning strikes." Everyone's heart tightened. Little fiend, are you stupid? How can you say such things out loud? Aren't this letting the lightning know your weaknesses? This time, the Wu Yin will work even harder to strike you. Are you intentionally digging your own grave? The Wu Yin thought so too. Ha, you little troublemaker. Finally can't take any more of this, can you? I just need to keep working hard and I'll definitely be able to strike you to death. As for those people, they're extremely stupid. I'll take my time with them once I'm done with you. The more the Wu Yin thought about it, the more excited it became. One after another, thicker and sturdier bolts of lightning struck Yin Chujio continuously. Yin Chujio kept wailing like a ghost. One moment she said her arm was going to break, another moment she said her leg was going to break, and another moment she said her internal organs were going to be shattered. Every time the Wu Yin wanted to give up, it was reinvigorated by Yin Chujio's words. As long as it kept going for a while more, this little girl would die. Unknowingly, the Wu Yin was kept going for a full 6 hours. Gradually, the lightning bolts were no longer as dense as before. It was obvious that it had started to run out of spiritual power. The Wu Yin finally regained its senses. Fuck. It was tricked again. The little devil who was shouting that she was going to die was too lively, while apparently being on the verge of death. When had she ever looked like she was going to die? This wretched girl was too cunning. Curses. It was thoroughly tricked. Hey, little weakling, are you afraid of me? Why did you stop attacking? Yin Chujio placed one hand on her waist and pointed at the cloud with the other. Even though the Wu Yun knew that it had fallen into Yin Chujio's trap, it couldn't back down now. It thought to itself that since it was already in this situation, it would go all out. Several more Wu Yun gathered to form a larger cloud that was as thick as an elephant's arm. It then threw a much larger bolt of lightning at Yin Chujio. The group of beasts were so scared that they closed their eyes. Would the little fiend still survive this time? Chapter 875. Made a small fortune after a huge explosion. A huge pit that was dozens of feet deep was left on the ground. Black smoke rose from the pit, and it was silent inside. Everyone's heart sank. Could it be that the little fiend had been killed by that last lightning bolt? The enlarged Wu Yin felt smug. Ha ha ha, the little fiend had finally been killed by it. Although it did not have much spiritual power left, it was still worth it. It had finally vented its anger. Just as the Wu Yin was feeling pleased with itself, it heard a laugh that sounded like a silver bell coming from the pit. Little weakling, I have to thank you. I managed to dig up some 100th-century purple tuber down here. This is something worth celebrating. What a huge root. It's worth at least hundreds of millions of spirit stones. The Wu Yin was so angry that it almost fainted. However, it did not have enough energy left in its heart. The last strike just now had already used up most of its remaining spiritual power, so it could only sigh and float away. Yin Chujio curled her lips in the pit. Although this Wu Yin was a little more shrewd than the one in the ancient sword tomb, it still could not compare to her intelligence. Mission complete. Feng Ming and the Yun siblings saw the Wu Yin float away and quickly ran to the edge of the pit. Junior sister little Jio, are you alright? I'm fine. I've made a small fortune. Quickly pull me up. It's forbidden to fly here, or else I would have flown up long ago. Yin Chujio's giggling voice came from the bottom of the pit. A moment later, Yin Chujio was dragged up to ground level. She had just made a small fortune, and was in a very good mood. Although she was not short of money now, this kind of unexpected joy was refreshing. After she returned to the crowd, Yin Chujio took out the 100th-century purple tuber from her storage ring, and showed it off. The crowd saw that the 100th-century purple tuber was already faintly showing a red color. With one look, one could tell that it was really old. Were it not for the lightning strike, it was hard to say if it would become a spirit in time. Everyone's faces were filled with envy, and they all fawned over her. Fairy Yin is really a blessed person. She was repeatedly struck by lightning, and yet she was able to find treasure. Such luck makes people envious. Yet a genius is a genius. Even her luck is better than us ordinary people. Fairy Yin is really powerful. After being struck by such a thick heavenly lightning, she was unharmed. She's too powerful. Sigh. God is unfair. It is one thing for Fairy Yin to be devastatingly beautiful and powerful, but she is so lucky. It is unfair to the rest of us. Although Yin Chujio knew that these people were just flattering her, she was still very happy in her heart. The words devastatingly beautiful especially pleased her. It was the truth. Yin Chujio deliberately did not stop them. After letting those people flatter her for an entire hour, she then said hypocritically, "Everyone, you're flattering me. I just got a little lucky. Let's continue to attack the barrier. After the Wu Yin spent so much spiritual energy on me, this barrier must have become much weaker. As long as we work together, in less than 2 hours, the barrier will definitely be broken." Everyone cheered and attacked in the specified order again. Sure enough, in less than 2 hours, a crack appeared in the enchantment. They could vaguely see the scenery outside. Everyone became excited and attacked with greater vigor. Finally, the crack grew bigger and bigger. Some people and beasts wanted to escape first. Yin Chujio said coldly from behind, "Go out according to the order. If anyone tries to cut in line, I will let them have a taste of my lightning when I get out." Those humans and beasts backed down, and obediently retreated according to the order of the attack. Yin Chujio stayed behind because she was confident that even if the crack closed, she could open it again with the help of the spirit tools in her bag. Chapter 876. The sorrowful Shui Wuji. Those people and beasts did not know that Yun Chujio had a trump card. When they saw that Yun Chujio had selflessly stayed behind, they were extremely touched. Even those initially snobbish ones felt a sense of sorrow. Although this Yun Chujio was an eccentric person, she had a good heart. When it was Yun Chujio's turn to exit the barrier, a tsunami of cheers and roars greeted her. At that moment, Yun Chujio understood why some people wanted to be heroes. It turned out that the feeling of being worshipped and appreciated by others was a kind of sensation that came from the bottom of one's heart. It was different from the satisfaction of being rich. It was a kind of spiritual satisfaction. She could not help but laugh at herself. Did she sublimate herself? Yun Chujio waved her hands. Everyone, since we have managed to escape, please go on ahead. Little Bun, do you want to find a place to wait or come with me? After I save the people from the East Valley, I will find you a suitable place for you to live. The demonic beasts hesitated for a while, and a small group of them decided to leave on their own. After all, the East Valley was not like the West Valley. Perhaps this little girl would not be able to get out from there. Moreover, there was already somewhere appealing in front of them. It would be a good place to make a new home. After most of the demonic beasts had seen Yun Chujio's power, they felt that the rune spirit of the East Valley would definitely not be able to defeat this little devil. Moreover, the situation was still uncertain, so it was better to let her help them choose a good place to settle down. These demonic beasts now had a lot of confidence in Yun Chujio. Among them, the Leopard King was the most obvious in his admiration of her. It was extremely flattering, wagging its big tail like a little kitten. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. All of you get out of the way. Little sister Little Gio, I've been worried sick about you. I haven't been eating or drinking these few days and I've lost weight. If you don't come out now, I'm going to starve to death. Shui Wuji squeezed in from the crowd of people and beasts. Yun Chujio looked at Shui Wuji, whose face was glowing red, and pursed her lips. Come on, you have to have some credibility when you're lying. Seeing that the jig was up, Shui Wuji laughed dryly. Little sister Gio, I accidentally mixed up my words. I was too worried about you, so I turned my grief and anger into an appetite. I ate too much and got fatter. Yun Chujio smiled. Brother Wuji, I'm sorry I made you worry. I'll rest for the night. Tomorrow morning, we'll enter the East Valley. Shui Wuji was dazed by Yun Chujio's bright smile. He felt that little sister Gio was too beautiful. When he came back to his senses, he found that Yun Chujio had already grabbed Beiming's arm and was skipping in the other direction. The bitterness in his heart was even stronger than drinking 100 jars of old vinegar. Why couldn't little sister Gio see his good side? Why did she have to like that cold and rigid face when he was clearly 100 times better looking than Beiming? Shui Wuji sat to outside dejectedly and felt that his entire being was on the verge of collapse. When many female disciples saw this scene, their little hearts pounded. This Yun Chuling was simply too handsome, especially his melancholic appearance. It was too tempting. When Shui Wuji regained his senses, he saw a few female disciples looking at him infatuatedly. When they saw Shui Wuji looking at them, they could not help but blush, looking extremely bashful. When Shui Wuji saw this, his confidence returned once again. It seemed that this young master's charm was undeniable. Little Gio must have been bewitched by Beiming. After a long time, she would naturally see how appealing he was. Yes, he should not be discouraged. Little Gio must be his. After all, he was the most suitable person for her. Chapter 877. A Sea of Flowers. Shui Wuji was revitalized. After giving the girls a wicked smile, he eagerly went to look for Yun Chujio. The girls were instantly mesmerized by Shui Wuji's smile. They felt as if their little hearts were about to jump out of their chests. They looked at Shui Wuji's back with infatuation, almost turning into statues that famously awaited their husband's return from sea. Yun Chujio was telling Beiming about what happened in the West Valley. She was beamed with joy throughout the retelling. In front of Beiming, she would unconsciously become an innocent and romantic little girl. Although her brain would occasionally stop working, this kind of full-hearted trust, the feeling of having someone to rely on, softened people's hearts. When Shui Wuji saw the invisible pink bubble between the two of them, half of his confidence dissipated. Woo, his heart was about to break. Why did he feel like an outsider, and the two of them were like a match made in heaven? Secret Agent Huahua looked at her young master's stupid look, and could not bear to keep looking at him. She knew that it was unbearable, but she still bravely went forward like a moth to a flame. Sigh. She did not expect that the young master was also a sucker for love. It was unexpected. Wuji's attention gradually shifted to Yin Chujia's story. The bitterness in his heart slowly turned into admiration. Little sister Jiao was amazing. She managed to save these people and beasts all by herself. The next morning, Yin Chujiao adjusted her spiritual power to the first level of the Spirit Emperor realm. Then she walked into the enchantment of the East Valley with Beiming and the others. As soon as the five of them landed on the ground, they found themselves amidst a huge sea of flowers. There were all kinds of flowers in an assortment of colors. Spirit butterflies and spirit bees were shuttling between the flowers. It was a beautiful scene. If an ordinary girl saw such a scene, she would marvel at the beauty. However, the first thing Yin Chujiao said was, "Ah, there are spirit bees. There must be a beehive nearby. The quality of the honey here must be very good. It must be fragrant and sweet." The corners of Beiming and the other three's eyes twitched. This girl never changes. Little sister Jiao, if we follow these spirit bees, we will find the beehive. When the time comes, I will help you get some honey to eat. Wuji immediately came over to flatter her. Well, since we don't have any clues, let's follow the spirit bees first. Yin Chujiao nodded. She would never admit that she just wanted to go after some of their honey. The five of them soon had a bad feeling. They found that the spirit bees had been repeatedly circling in the sea of flowers. Even though they stopped tracking the spirit bees later, they found that they had ended up in the same area, and they had fallen into a maze. At that time, the sea of flowers was no longer attractive in the eyes of the group. It was just a prison with a beautiful exterior. Little sister Jiao, what should we do? Although these flowers are colorful, each area is the same as before. We have been circling around the same area without realizing it. Wuji frowned. Among the five people, only Yin Chujiao knew a little about arrays. The other four people knew nothing on the subject. Naturally, they all turned their eyes to Yin Chujiao for guidance. Yin Chujiao touched her nose. I only know two tried and tested methods. One is to find the right reference point to pinpoint where the barrier is. The other is to create a spiritual energy fluctuation and break the enchantment by force. Reference points? These flowers are all the same, so they can't be used as a reference. The sky is covered with thick clouds, and the sun can't be seen. These spiritual bees and butterflies keep flying along the same path, so they can't be used either. Wuji said dejectedly. Beiming raised his eyebrows. If there's none, then we'll create one. Wuji pursed his lips. That's easy for you to say. How? Can you create a sun or a moon? Chapter 878. Beiming's methods. Beiming looked at him indifferently. He raised his hand and a huge ice dragon pounced towards the sea of flowers. Those delicate flowers could not withstand the ice dragon's rampage. Wherever the ice dragon passed by, the flowers instantly wilted and an empty plain about 5 miles long was created. Beiming raised his hand again, and the ice dragon meandered forward vertically. Keep up. Beiming raised his eyebrows and said to everyone. The corner of Yin Chujia's eyes twitched. Well, such a rough solution was not so bad. Fortunately, the flowers were easier to deal with. If the pretty boy did not have enough spiritual power, the rest of them would still be able to help. The 5 of them adjusted the direction as they walked forward, making sure to be perpendicular to the first line. Sure enough, they encountered a barrier 2 hours later, and could not move forward anymore. Wuji said unwillingly, I can't believe we found the enchantment like this. We're just lucky. Brother Wuji, this Prince Charming isn't lucky. He's doing this for a reason. With that line as a reference, we won't be going in circles anymore. Yin Chujiao said with twinkling eyes. Yin Chujia's words were like salt on Wuji's wound. Therefore, he vented all his frustration on the enchantment. A huge spirit skull bomb smashed against the enchantment. It was only a maze, so the enchantment was not very strong. Wuji only used 15 minutes to break the enchantment. Brother Wuji, your spirit skull bomb is also very powerful. Yin Chujio said excitedly. Shui Wuji automatically ignored the word, also. He was so happy in his heart. Little sister Jiu praised him. He had said that his chance to shine would be here sooner or later. The spiritual herbs in here are indeed much more advanced than those in the West Valley. Yin Chujio said when she saw some of the spiritual herbs around her. Beiming and Shui Wuji nodded. There were so many high-quality spiritual herbs. They were rare even in the Tianyuan continent. No wonder the four sects sent their elders and disciples here despite the risks. Yin Chujio sighed regretfully. Sigh, if it wasn't for the urgent need to save people, I would have liked to pick some of these spirit herbs to bring back. These are all potential spirit stones. Beiming and the other three believed that that was what Yin Chujio was thinking. She had always been someone who would take the chance to make a profit. Were not for the fact that their time was limited, she would never have returned empty-handed. Little sister Jiu, when we find those people who are trapped, we will ask each of them to give you 100 spirit herbs. We can't save them for nothing, right? Yin Chujio's eyes lit up. Brother Wuji, that's a good idea. When the time comes, I'll be the good cop, and you'll be the bad cop. Well, split the herbs we extorted 50-50. 50-50? Isn't what's mine yours? I'll give them all to you. I don't want any of them. This is a good idea that you came up with, so you deserve to have a share too. Seeing the two brothers and sisters talking to each other so intimately, Beiming felt a little gnawing in his heart. He snorted coldly. Don't forget what you're here for. The longer you delay, the more dangerous it will be for you to be trapped here. Shui Wuji was about to retort when his heart suddenly moved. Ha ha ha, Beiming, this expressionless man was jealous. It'll be satisfying to anger you to death. Let little sister Jiu take a good look at your true colors. Little sister Jiu, Beiming is right. It's still more important for us to save the people. Don't worry, leave the matter of the medicinal herbs to me. I guarantee that it'll make you a fortune. Shui Wuji said to Yin Chujio with a smile as his phoenix-like eyes overflowed with color and emotion. Chapter 879. The definition of a love-hate relationship. Unfortunately, Yin Chujio was distracted by a golden witch hazel by the roadside. She did not pay attention to Shui Wuji at all. She replied casually. Then thank you, Brother Wuji. Haha, I was just worried about how to refine a spirit-nourishing pill for a little loach. I didn't even need to spend any effort to get it. Yin Chujio dug out the golden plant with a small shovel as she spoke, too busy to care about the details. Shui Wuji was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. He had secretly practiced this affectionate gaze for a long time, but it was missed by little sister Jiu just like that. Beiming stood at the side and said indifferently, Shui Wuji, there are some things that cannot be obtained by hard work. You should give up as soon as possible. There are no absolutes in life. Let's wait and see, Shui Wuji said with a cold snort. Yin Chujio had already dug out the golden witch hazel and put it into the jade box before storing it in her storage ring. She asked with a smile, Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, what are you talking about? Why do you sound so excited? I find that your relationship is getting better and better. Beiming and Shui Wuji snorted at the same time. A good relationship? What a joke. Yin Chujio looked at the two of them and suddenly thought of something. This was the definition of a love-hate relationship. She immediately imagined a novel with a similar premise. To Wu Xiaobei, Little Gong pretended to like a girl, but in fact, he was only interested in Xiaobei, while Xiaobei kept provoking Little Gong, hoping to get his attention. Hey little Jiu, what are you staring at? Hurry up and follow me. Beiming realized that the words black thing no longer fit Yin Chujio. White thing was a more appropriate nickname now. Beiming, can't you be gentler to little sister Jiu? She has been digging for a long time, can't she take a break? Shui Wuji naturally would not let go of this opportunity to elevate himself and defame Beiming. The corners of the eyes of secret agent Hua Hua and Infeng twitched. It seemed like little Miss Jiu had been digging for less than half an hour, right? How tiring could it be? Moreover, the ninth miss was clearly in a daze just now, and the smile on her face looked so perverted no matter how one looked at it. Yin Chujio laughed dryly and hopped around to hold Beiming's arm. She thought to herself, fortunately, the pretty boy was not attracted to others like him. Otherwise, she would not be able to enjoy meat in the future. Speaking of which, she was already 16 years old. Why had her period not yet start? If her body did not function normally, when would she become like 5th and 7th sisters? Little sister Gio, why don't we catch a high-level demon beast later? Just like at the West Valley, we'll interrogate it about the whereabouts of the trapped people. Little sister Gio. Shui Wuji saw that Yin Chujio didn't respond, so he called out again. Yin Chujio finally came back to her senses. Ah, brother Wuji, what did you say? I said, why don't we capture a demonic beast to lead the way? Shui Wuji couldn't help but feel puzzled. What was little sister Gio thinking of just now? Why was she so engrossed in her thoughts? Yin Chujio nodded. All right, let's do it that way. Let's see which unlucky bastard comes to us voluntarily. However, what made the 5 of them feel strange was that they had not encountered a single demonic beast the entire day, let alone a high-level one. Little sister Gio, could it be that this place is still isolated from the East Valley? No. Look, there were obvious signs of people picking herbs and traces of demon beast activity. However, these marks are at least half a month old. Could it be that something happened to them? Or were they trapped somewhere else? Yin Chujio frowned and said. Chapter 880. I climbed too fast. Yes, what little Gio said makes sense. This should be the East Valley. I just don't know why the demonic beasts and cultivators suddenly disappeared. They are likely trapped somewhere. Beiming felt that what Yin Chujio said made sense. Little sister Gio, what should we do next? Should we just try looking for their whereabouts without a plan first? There doesn't seem to be any other good solutions. We can only search in one direction. Yin Chujio sighed and said. Yin Chujio had considered releasing the demon beasts in her storage ring and letting them help look around on their own. However, this place was different from the West Valley. They were not familiar with the layout of the valley here. Moreover, although they were at the top of the food chain in the West Valley, however, they were now at the bottom of the food chain in the East Valley. If they were not careful, they might end up eaten by high-level demonic beasts. They could not possibly save them and hurt them at the same time. It's really strange. You said that the cultivators gathered to discuss ideas on how to get out. Then, they might have been wiped out by a whole nest of beasts. However, the demon beasts have always been scattered and uncoordinated. What method did the people of the godly devil hall use to capture or trap them? Yin Chujio was puzzled. Beiming thought for a moment and said, perhaps they have something that can attract demon beasts. We neglected this problem at Longping Mountain. Almost all the demon beasts there were captured by the formation. I guess the godly devil hall used special methods back then too. Although Shui Wuji wanted to disagree with Beiming, he had to admit that Beiming's analysis was reasonable. No matter how high your spiritual power was, it was impossible to find out where all the demon beasts were hiding. There had to be something that attracted the demon beasts to make them want to voluntarily walk into the trap. Yin Chujio inexplicably thought of the strange grass in her dantian. If she used it, would she be able to create a similar effect? There wouldn't be any relatives of the strange grass in the godly devil hall, right? While thinking about the strange grass, she suddenly thought of an idea. They could do the opposite and let the strange grass summon the demon beasts. Even if none of the demon beasts came, they would still feel restless after they sensed the summoning. It was also possible that some managed to avoid the trap. Perhaps they might be able to find some clues from those left behind. After all, how could so many demon beasts disappear without leaving any traces? Yin Chujio thought of that and used her divine sense to ask the strange grass. Strange grass, do your best to lure some demon beasts here. If you do well, you will be rewarded. Ever since the strange grass saw Beiming seal the last time, he was extremely obedient. When he heard Yin Chujio's instructions, he immediately started to try summoning demon beasts with all his might. 2 hours had passed, but there was still no reaction. Yin Chujio frowned. Could it be that every single one of the beasts was trapped? The place where the demonic beasts were trapped was either very far away, or the trap restricted their freedom. There was simply no way to do anything. Just as Yin Chujio was deep in thought, a level 10 golden tortoise came stumbling over from afar. Yin Chujio suddenly understood how it had escaped the trap. The golden tortoises move very slowly, relying entirely on its sturdy shell to defend itself. It would not eat for 8 to 10 years after having a meal. The tortoises must have crawled too slowly back then and were injured. Before it could reach its destination, the trap was sprung. However, this golden tortoise felt that it was about to fly up. It had never climbed so fast in its life. Oh my God, it had no idea it could also climb so fast. It was almost in awe of itself. It was probably the fastest in the golden tortoise species. Chapter 881. An insultingly simple method. Yin Chujio saw that she had finally caught one of the demon beasts that had slipped through the net, so she asked the strange grass to stop the summoning. The golden tortoise was charging toward them at a speed it did not think was possible. It did not expect the fatally attractive scent to suddenly disappear. It felt dumbfounded. Little shell, come over here. I want to ask you something. Yin Chujio gestured at the golden tortoise. The golden tortoise finally noticed Yin Chujio and the other three. It was so scared that it wanted to turn around and run back the way it came. Unfortunately, its actions looked like a slow-motion replay in the eyes of the crowd. It was so slow. Little shell, I advise you to behave yourself. Otherwise, I don't mind crippling 3 of your claws. If you cooperate a little, perhaps I can treat you with a little kindness. Yin Chujio jumped in front of the golden tortoise as she took out a large kitchen knife and said fiercely. The golden tortoise immediately shrunk its head into its shell. Its speed was even faster than lightning. Yin Chujio could not help but laugh. This tortoise's shirking speed was much faster than its crawling speed. Little shell, do you think you'll be fine just by hiding your head in your shell? I have a lot of firewood in my storage ring. I'll put you over the fire and slowly roast you. I don't believe that your shell is completely fireproof. The golden tortoise almost fainted from anger. Damn. Where did this little devil come from? To think that she could come up with such a simple way to hurt it. It was insultingly simple. No matter how hard its shell was, it was still a body of flesh and blood. How could it withstand fire? And she said that she could cure its crippled leg? If what she said was true, that would be great. Where it was not for the crippled leg, it would not have crawled around so slowly. The golden tortoise's slender eyes rolled around as it raised its injured front leg and shook it. Are you asking me if I can cure your crippled leg? Yin Chujio asked with a smile. The golden tortoise nodded. Its leg had been injured for more than 10 years. After it was injured, although it knew which herb could cure it, it could not reach the herbs on time. By the time it found the 7-petal hibiscus, it would be already several months later, and the herb would have rotted, so even if it ate the 7-petal hibiscus, it would not cure its leg. Yin Chujio had picked some herbs sparsely along the way. It was just enough to refine a batch of muscle-growing pills. However, ordinary muscle-growing pills could not cure the golden tortoise's old injury. Only the heaven-grade muscle-growing pills could do it. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, help protect me while I refine the muscle-growing pills for the little shell. Although the golden tortoise would obey if she forced it, Yin Chujio felt that it was better to let it help her of its own initiative. After all, when being forced to do something, the seeds of dissatisfaction are almost always sown. Who knows what kind of evil schemes might be hatched against her if that happened. After Yin Chujio took out and activated the isolation disc, she began to refine some medicinal pills. The pretty boy had once said that she could refine heaven-grade pills without letting others know, so it was better to be careful. After a quarter of an hour, Yin Chujio put away the isolation array, and a rich medicinal fragrance immediately spread out from where she was. Wuji was shocked. Little sister Jio, you refined a muscle-growing pill? How did you finish refining it in such a short time? Shouldn't it take 2 hours? What nonsense are you talking about? Little Jio, ignore him. Quickly feed the pill to the golden tortoise, and ask it for the whereabouts of those people. Although Beiming knew that Wuji had a good impression of Yin Chujio and would not harm her, people's hearts were hard to predict. Now that they were friends, It was hard to guarantee that they would be enemies in the future. Little Gio's alchemy skills were heaven-defying, and the fewer people who knew the better. Chapter 882. A sea of red flowers. Wuji was sometimes a fool, but he was very shrewd. When he heard Beiming's words, he knew what was going on in his heart. He sneered in his heart. This facial paralysis underestimated me, Wuji. Although I act recklessly, little sister Gio was irreplaceable in my heart. Why would I betray her? However, this facial paralysis was very interested in little sister Gio. If it were me, I would do the same. High-level alchemists were too popular in the cultivation world. Many forces imprisoned alchemists to use them exclusively for their own sex pill refinement. At that time, the golden tortoise had already swallowed the muscle revitalization pill. The crippled leg began to feel warm. The golden tortoise was so excited that it almost cried. That crippled leg had been numb for a long time. Now that it could feel the heat, it meant that the pill that the little devil gave it was indeed effective. After another hour, the golden tortoise's crippled leg had already returned to normal. The golden tortoise was so excited that tears streamed down its face. I could finally walk as fast as flying again. This was great. Little shell, I've healed your leg. Now, bring us to the place where those demonic beasts were trapped. Don't say that you don't know anything. You must have escaped the trap because you were too slow. However, you should still know the general direction. The golden tortoise nodded. After it smelled the fragrance back then, it dragged its broken leg and crawled with all its might. Unfortunately, before it could reach the place, it had disappeared. When it came back to its senses, it found that the entire East Valley had gone silent. It was as if not a single demonic beast existed. The golden tortoise thought that something was wrong and quickly crawled back to the cave. Since then, it had never seen any other demonic beasts. It felt a little suspicious. Could the strange fragrance be a trap? This time, when the strange grass was emitting the fragrance, it initially ignored it, but the fragrance of the strange grass was stronger than the one before. It couldn't bear it anymore, so it desperately ran over. Yunchujio originally wanted to let the golden tortoise lead the way, but considering its extremely slow speed, she summoned 3 huge mighty elephants from the spirit beast bag. The 5 of them and the golden tortoise sat on their backs and went towards the direction that the golden tortoise had indicated. A day later, while Yin Chujio sat on the elephant's back, she began to see a sea of fiery red flowers on the horizon. The red flowers blotted out the sky and covered the earth. Yin Chujio frowned. This spirit herb valley was not a garden, so it couldn't be cultivated by humans. How could the same type of flower grow so luxuriously? How could it cover such a large area? As they got closer to the sea of flowers, the 3 mighty elephants grew excited. They sped up and no longer listened to Yin Chujia's commands. Even the golden tortoise began to feel restless. Unfortunately, its speed was too slow to do anything. Even after trying for a long time, it only managed to climb a small distance. It did not even manage to climb down the elephant's back. What was worse was that even Enfeng and Secret Agent Wawa's eyes revealed an anxious look. If they had not used their spiritual power to forcefully suppress it, they would have jumped off the elephant's back and rushed toward the sea of flowers. Beiming and Wuji fared slightly better. Although the 2 of them also felt that there was a kind of power summoning them, their willpower was tough. They could rely on their willpower to suppress that desire, without resorting to using their spiritual power. The only one who was not affected was Yin Chujio, the little devil. She touched her chin. It seemed that the problem lay in the sea of red flowers. Chapter 883. I want to try something. Yin Chujio did not stop the mighty elephants and allowed them to charge into the sea of flowers. After entering the sea of flowers, the 5 of them jumped off the backs of the elephants. The 3 mighty elephants and the golden tortoise were still very excited, and were having fun amidst the sea of flowers. Enfeng and Secret Agent Huahua also no longer resisted the effects. Sleepiness struck them, and they just wanted to lie down. The 2 of them could only sit cross-legged and circulate their spirit energy to resist the lethargy. Beiming took out the isolation disc and activated an isolation array. Only then did everyone snap out of their stupor. This flower is quite beautiful. What kind of flower it is? I haven't seen it in the 100 volumes of medicinal herbs. Yin Chujio said in confusion. Shui Wuji suddenly slapped his thigh. I remember. This was the infernal mirage flower. It was a spiritual plant from ancient times. It is extinct now during modern times. It said that both cultivators and demon beasts thought that this flower was too dangerous, so they eradicated it as soon as they saw it sprouting anywhere. After a long time, it gradually became extinct. How can there be such a large field of infernal mirage flowers here then? That's right, this is indeed the infernal mirage flower. As the name implies, the fragrance emitted by this flower can cause many kinds of hallucinations. In the beginning, it's exciting, but after a while, one will start to feel sleepy. After one falls asleep, one will be immersed in hallucinations. Unless there's an external force to wake you up, you will die unknowingly, and the dead demon beast and human carcasses will become nutrients for the infernal mirage flower. What was even more terrifying was that if humans or demonic beasts stayed amongst the flowers for too long, they would become dependent on its fragrance. Even if they were awakened, they would do everything they could to find this flower again, and willingly send themselves to their deaths. Beiming added on. How long will it take for you to become addicted? If you become addicted, is there a way to break free of it? Yin Chujio nodded. The flower sounded similar to the modern poppy, but the infernal mirage flower seemed to be even more potent in its effects. It was indeed a flower of evil. You will become addicted in a month. There isn't any reliable method, and you can only rely on your willpower to forcefully get rid of your addiction. That's why this species of flower was feared by everyone. It didn't take long for it to become extinct. A month? I wonder how long Elder Chu and the others have been trapped here. Looks like we have to hurry. Since we can't find yet, let's destroy these flowers first. Yin Chujio rolled her eyes as she said, Prince Charming, help me clear out a small piece of land first. I want to try something. Although Beiming did not understand what Yin Chujio wanted to do, he still cleared out a piece of land. Yin Chujio took out a pile of firewood from her storage ring and struck it with lightning. Then, she used a rolling pin to hammer the burnt charcoal. After the charred charcoal was hammered into small particles, Yin Chujio mixed a few recovery pills into it. Then, she took out a few pieces of linen from her storage ring. After wrapping the small particles in layers, she sewed them into a simple mask. Little madman, cover your mouth and nose with this and see if it has any effect. Yin Chujio handed the simple anti-poison mask to Enfeng. Yin Chujio was not that confident. The anti-poison mask was filled with activated charcoal, and the process was very complicated. Although the charcoal she used was a little stronger than the fire, it might not have any effect. However, it was mixed with a spirit awakening pill, so it should be able to make up for it. Enfeng followed Yin Chujio's instructions and tied the 2 strips to his ears. Then he covered his mouth and nose with a linen cloth. The refreshing smell of the awakening pill instantly made people feel much more energized. In addition, the charred coal blocked the invasion of the infernal mirage flower's fragrance. He instantly felt refreshed. Chapter 884. The odd relationship between Master and Pet Enfeng was unable to speak due to the mask being too heavy, so he gave Yin Chujio a thumbs up, indicating that the effect was very good. Seeing this, Yin Chujio quickly gave one each to Secret Agent Huahua, Beiming, and Shui Wuji. After the 3 of them put it on, they felt that it functioned well, and expressed that the mask kept out the flower's fragrance. Yin Chujio immediately turned narcissistic. Sigh. What can I do about myself? Why am I so smart? I even have to admire myself. The corners of Beiming and the other 3's eyes twitched. They ignored her and began to eradicate the infernal mirage flowers. Yin Chujio did not stay idle either. She first used a rolling pin to wake up the 3 mighty elephants and the golden tortoise before letting them into her spirit beast bag. Then she continued to make more masks. This mask had a time-limited effect. The charcoal and awakening pills inside had to be replaced regularly, otherwise, the mask would lose its effectiveness. Thus, she made quite a number of filling materials, using linen to sew dozens of replacement masks. Only then did she help Beiming and the others get rid of the infernal mirage flowers. While Yin Chujio was happily being struck by lightning, the strange grass shyly expressed its desire to eat those flowers. At that point, Yin Chujio was already used to the unique tastes of what the strange grass wanted to consume. Moreover, earlier she had said that she would reward it, thus, she began to uproot several infernal mirage flowers and stuff them in her mouth. Master, am not affected by those infernal mirage flowers. Let me out, and I will help you burn them all. The flaming three-tailed fox king said in the spirit beast bag. Yin Chujio was stunned for a moment. Then she realized that it made sense. Little Red had the innate ability to charm people, so it naturally had a strong ability to resist charm. Thus she let him out to help. When Enfeng returned to change his mask, he was stunned to find that Yin Chujio was stuffing flowers into her mouth one by one while the flaming three-tailed fox king was using fireballs to burn the remaining flowers near Yin Chujio. Enfeng put a palm to his face and looked at the two. He felt that he had suffered a critical hit of 10,000 points. Yin Chujio handed a new mask to Enfeng. Then, she emptied the expired charcoal inside the old mask and refilled it with a fresh batch. This way, it could be used again. The sea of flowers was very large. The 5 of them worked for an entire day, but they had not found any trapped cultivators or demon beasts. Moreover, they could not see the edge of the sea of flowers. At night, the 5 of them activated an isolation array in a clearing and began to recuperate. Sigh, this sea of flowers is endless. I wonder if Elder Chu and the others can hold on until we find them. Yin Chujio sighed and said, Little Jiao, you don't have to worry too much. Elder Chu and the others also have isolation array discs on them. If they react quickly and activated the isolation array discs in time, they should be able to hold on for some time. Besides, didn't that golden tortoise say that the last time the demon beasts were attracted was half a month ago? I reckon that Elder Chu and the rest have not been trapped for that long. Beiming consoled. Yin Chujio nodded. I hope so. The people of the Godly Devil Hall are indeed powerful. This infernal mirage flower field was not planted in a day or two. It seems like they had planned to do this all along. I don't believe that it grew naturally. Beiming frowned. It seems like the Godly Devil Hall is much more powerful than we thought. What we discovered might only be the tip of the iceberg. Perhaps their tendrils have already extended to the Tianyuan continent. Shui Wuji also became serious. That's right. I didn't take this bullshit Godly Devil Hall seriously at first. But now, it seems like they're not to be underestimated. The strength behind it is unfathomable. When we go back, I have to send people to investigate them. Chapter 885. I borrowed them after they had some food. The 5 of them busied themselves once again. They began to make masks, under Yin Chujio's instruction. After several experiments, this mask could only last for 15 minutes, which was a huge consumption of resources. Fortunately, Yin Chujio's storage ring contained ample amounts of firewood and awakening pills. The next day, the 5 of them continued to destroy the infernal mirage flowers. Yin Chujio threw lightning bolts for a while before she realized that it was too slow. It was best if there was a faster and easier way. Master, it would be great if this thing was a dead branch. The living branches and leaves are all wet. It burns too slowly. Flaming three-tailed fox king complained. Little Red, are you stupid? If it were a dead branch, would you still need to burn it? Yin Chujio rolled her eyes at it. The flaming three-tailed fox choked and stopped moving after realizing what he had said. He silently continued to spew more fireballs at the flowers after that. Yin Chujio rubbed her chin and thought for a moment. Little Red's words were not unreasonable. If she could think of a way to make the fire burn faster, that would be great. Yin Chujio rolled her eyes and came up with an idea. She shouted at the 4 people in front of her. Hey! All of you come over here. I have an idea. Beiming and the other 4 quickly gathered around her. Little Jiao, what sort of idea do you have? Hehe. Watch me. After Yin Chujio finished speaking, she took out 5 large copper basins from her storage ring which were filled with rapeseed oil. Let's pour this rapeseed oil onto those infernal mirage flowers. I'll throw some more firewood into it. After lighting it up, Brother Wuji, you should generate some wind. The wind will borrow the strength of the fire. and the fire will borrow the strength of the wind. This combination will definitely turn the fire into an inferno. Little sister Gio, what if we hurt those trapped people? This infernal mirage flower doesn't burn easily. The areas without the rapeseed oil and firewood will be extinguished quickly. If you're still worried, we'll just set up a quarantine zone somewhere nearby. Yin Chujio said with a smile. Shui Wuji repeatedly praised her. Little sister Gio, how can you be so smart? I really admire you. Beiming saw that Shui Wuji had started acting flirty again. He wished he could kick Shui Wuji toward the clouds. With a sullen face he said, in that case, let's hurry up and not waste any time. Yin Chujio transferred the firewood and rapeseed oil into the storage rings of the other four, and then began to divide the work. A moment later, a raging fire started to burn. Yin Chujio said proudly, how is it? A good idea is half of the recipe to success. The efficiency is much higher than before. Moreover, this doesn't consume spiritual power. I'm simply too smart. Shui Wuji was naturally the first to support her. He said sincerely, little sister Gio, didn't I say just now? You're the smartest and most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Just as Yin Chujio was about to pretend to be humble, when she saw Beiming smirk and say, little Gio, what I'm more interested in is where did you get all these jars of rapeseed oil? Why did you store so much rapeseed oil? Yin Chujio laughed dryly. I borrowed them all from the Spirit Radiance Sect's kitchen. I'm from a poor family, after all. You all know that old bastard Tian Dao doesn't like me. Who knows, I might be trapped somewhere, so I naturally have to prepare everything. Let me tell you, not only do I have rapeseed oil, but I also have several jars of salt in my storage ring. There's also soy sauce, vinegar, and pepper noodles. Basically, I have everything I need to start a restaurant if I wanted to. Beiming and the other three were once again struck speechless. Chapter 886. Found them. Everyone thought to themselves, borrow? I have a feeling the things you borrowed will never be returned. Wherever the fire went, the infernal mirage flowers burned to a crisp. Occasionally, the few that did not burn to ash were eradicated by the 5 of them. It was better to extinguish such evil flowers. Even with such a large fire, it was not until the afternoon of the 3rd day that everyone heard the cries of demonic beasts. Everyone sped up their efforts and no longer burned the flowers. Instead, they used their spirit powers to destroy the infernal mirage flower. An hour later, they discovered that a few demonic beasts were in a state of frenzy. It was obvious that they were still affected by the flower's fragrance. Yin Chujio gave them a smack with her rolling pin, and made them stay further away from the flowers. Then, she splashed them with cold water to wake them up. The demonic beasts had blank looks on their faces. You were poisoned by the infernal mirage flower, and I just saved you. Where are the rest of the demonic beasts and cultivators? Are they far from here? Yin Chujio asked the demonic beasts. The demonic beasts nodded and pointed in a direction with their claws. Yin Chujio chose the smallest of the demonic beasts, and put on a gas mask for it to lead the way, while she kept the rest of the demonic beasts in her spirit beast bag. Those few demonic beasts obeyed Yin Chujio's instructions. They were not stupid. If the little girl wanted to kill them, she would have already done so just now. Therefore, they confidently followed her in peace. The smallest demonic beast was a 2-eyed lightning mink. After putting on the mask, it miraculously realized that it could not smell the abominable fragrance anymore. It admired these few humans. These 5 people were much smarter than the ones trapped inside. The more they walked inside, the more distinct the roars of the various demon beasts became. Gradually, they started to see some large demon beasts. Without a doubt, those demon beasts were all still affected by the flower's abominable fragrance. Some were extremely excited, and some were unable to control their grief. Some were madly spinning in circles. Yin Chujio and the others could only knock them unconscious one by one, and put them into their spirit beast bags, preparing to wake them up again when they had time. Finally, Yin Chujio saw the isolation arrays laid out in front of them, which were filled with cultivators. Yin Chujio immediately saw the elders of the Spirit Radiance Sect, and her heart instantly relaxed. When those people also saw Yin Chujio and the other 3, they immediately felt a sense of hope wash over them. These people were different from the people trapped in the West Valley. Most of them had been to the ancient sword tomb, so they knew the strength of these 5 people, especially when they saw that Yin Chujo had escaped from the ancient sword tomb. They felt that this little girl was not ordinary. She would be the one to save them for sure. Yin Chujo did not have time to chat with them. She gave masks to a few cultivators with high spiritual power, and asked them to help destroy the infernal mirage flowers. Yin Chujo asked the trapped cultivators to provide a lot of firewood and items that could ignite a fire. Soon, a large fire burned fiercely. The more people there were, the more power there was. Everyone worked for almost a day and finally burned all the infernal mirage flowers into ashes. Even if some did not die, they were destroyed by their spiritual powers and couldn't be resurrected. Yin Chujo then asked about what happened to everyone, and why they were trapped in this sea of flowers. Elder Chu sighed and began to tell the story. After we found out that we were trapped here, we started to look for a way out, but there was no exit. The ones who came in later ended up in the boat. We eventually gathered together here. We were unwilling to be trapped like this, so we split up again to look for a way out or a barrier. However, almost everyone returned with bad news. Just when we were falling to despair, Elder Zhang from the Heavenly Gate Sect suddenly ran back and said excitedly that he had found the barrier. Chapter 887. The story of being trapped. When we heard his words, we were naturally overjoyed. In our joy, we didn't bother to ask any more questions and followed him to this place. At that time, these infernal mirage flowers were just some low plants that hadn't bloomed yet. Moreover, their young plants were very similar to the non-toxic flaming paper kite. At that time, we were in a hurry to find the enchantment barrier, so we didn't examine them carefully. We thought that it was just flaming paper kites, so even though we thought that there were a lot of them, we didn't consider them a threat. However, when we entered this place, those flaming paper kites grew buds at a rapid speed and bloomed into infernal mirage flowers. In an instant, a rich fragrance pervaded the air. Fortunately, Elder Chi reacted quickly and told us to quickly activate an isolation array. At the moment we entered the isolation array, a large number of demonic beasts rushed over here. Despite being in the isolation array, we soon fell under the illusions of the flowers. Elder Chu briefly recounted what had happened. Elder Zhang of the Heavenly Gate Sect? The Elder Zhang who framed me for killing his grandson? Yin Chujo asked. That's right, it's him. Then where is he? That bastard didn't wait for us to settle the score with him. He bit his index finger and used a secret technique. After the image of a red spider lily formed in midair, he disappeared. I never thought that he was actually from the Red Spider Lily faction. The Heavenly Gate Sect again? I caught a person from the Godly Devil Hall in the West Valley. Oh, so that's the name of the Red Spider Lily faction. It seems that the Godly Devil Hall has already embedded a spy amongst the 4 great sections. Yin Chujo briefly told everyone what had happened in the West Valley. The elders of the Heavenly Gates Sect looked ashamed. They had not expected that the spies from the East and West Valleys to be from the Heavenly Gate Sect. Little Joe girl, you have always been resourceful. What should we do next? Following Elder Chu's words, everyone looked at Yin Chujo with anticipation. Yin Chujo was now their last hope. They placed all their trust in Yin Chujo. Yin Chujo touched her nose and said, Everyone, I don't have any good ideas. I only have 3 methods that work so far. The first one is the same one I used in the ancient sword tomb. It involves drawing out the rune spirits Wu Yin to attack me. Doing so will consume its spirit stones. We will look out for the fluctuations in spirit energy to help us find the enchantment. The second is to split up and look for a place where the fluctuation of spiritual power is abnormal. The third is the same method that I used in the West Valley. I will let the demon beasts help us look for it. They are more familiar with the terrain here. Maybe they might find something. Little Joe, the second method is basically useless. We have almost run all over this place, but we haven't found any abnormal spiritual power fluctuations. We can only try the first and third moves. Okay, then I'll try to lure out the Wu Yin by cursing it. After saying that, Yin Chujo began to curse at the rune spirit with her hands on her waist. Her cursing was so dry that it did not have any effect. Yin Chujio asked everyone to help her curse it, but it still did not have any effect. Apparently, the rune spirit here did not fall for her trick. Yin Chujio had no choice but to let out the demon beasts from the spirit beast bag. After waking them up, she told them about the incident. The demon beasts were even more intelligent than the ones in the West Valley. They immediately understood Yin Chujio's meaning, but one by one, they shook their heads. It meant that they had lived here for hundreds or even thousands of years without discovering any abnormal spiritual fluctuations. Everyone was discouraged. It was over. The little devil's 3 methods had all failed. Could it be that they could only await their deaths here? Chapter 888. I will protect you too. Yin Chujio had no other choice. She had never studied array formations before, and had only learned the basics from some books she had read. Other than finding the enchantment and breaking it by force, she did not have any other good ideas. Seeing this, everyone could only try their best and split up again to look for places where the spiritual energy fluctuation was abnormal, including those demonic beasts. The golden tortoise also wanted to go but was kicked aside by Yin Chujio. Forget it. Before you managed to climb 2 miles, those other beasts would already be back. The golden tortoise felt that its self-esteem had been severely damaged. Was it that slow in climbing? It felt that it was only a little slower than the other beasts. As the days passed, everyone and the demonic beasts returned dejectedly, as they still found nothing. Yin Chujio did not know whether to laugh or cry when she found out that some of the demonic beasts were still missing. Later on, she found out that they had been eaten by other high-level demonic beasts. She thought that it was true. Those high-level demonic beasts had been starving for half a month, so they naturally wanted to have a good meal. When the golden tortoise found out about this situation, it immediately felt that Yin Chujio's kick was a good thing. Otherwise, it would have been eaten by them too. It was too close for comfort. Everyone and the other beasts were very depressed. All of them drooped their heads. Only Yin Chujio was still alive and kicking. She ate and drank well every day and did not seem to be worried at all. Little Jio, aren't you worried that we won't be able to get out? Elder Chu asked in confusion. Time still passes if you're worrying. The same also happens if you're happy. Might as well be happy. Besides, is worrying useful? If you are happy, you might find a solution in a flash. Yin Chujio said with a smile. Elder Chu was stunned, and then he threw his head back and laughed. That's right. This old man is not as open-minded as a little girl like you. Indeed, it's useless to be sad. You can be happy instead. Little Jio, lend me a small hot pot. I want to satisfy my craving. Hearing their conversation, some of the people and beasts became more cheery, but most people still dropped their heads and frowned. Although Yin Chujio was acting carefree, she had been busy thinking of a way to get out inside. Who would be willing to wait for death? She originally planned to summon the Leopard King as a leather chair, but when he saw Beiming, he immediately changed his mind. Prince Charming, come here for a moment. Yin Chujio stretched out her hands and waved at Beiming. Beiming thought that she had something to do, so he quickly got up and sat beside her. Little Jio, what's the matter? Well, it's nothing big. I'm a little tired. Let me lean on your shoulder for a while, Yin Chujio said and leaned on Beiming. Beiming put his right hand around her waist and said gently, if you're tired, sleep for a while. I'm not tired. I just can't think. It's a little annoying, Yin Chujio pouted and said. There will always be a way. Don't worry. Even if the enchantment is destroyed, I will protect you. Nothing will happen to you. Beiming's eyes were deep, and his words were full of determination. Yin Chujio felt her little heart go weak. Damn, when Prince Charming talks about love, it's too destructive on me. She wanted to ravage him. The two looked at each other with tenderness and a swirl of emotions, all in silence. Little sister Jio, I will protect you too. I would rather die than let anything happen to you. Wuji could not stand Beiming and Yin Chujio showing off their love and affection, so he immediately took the initiative to give Beiming a hard time. Chapter 889. No one else like him. Beiming took a deep look at Wuji. Wuji could not help but shiver. he shouted. Beiming, why are you looking at me? I just want to express my feelings. Can't I do it? Beiming snorted. You're thinking too much. I'm just looking at the scenery. Wuji looked at the charred ground and thought to himself, are you trying to fool me? Beiming, be a little more sincere when you're lying, okay? There's nothing but scorched earth around. What are you looking at? Your taste isn't that weird, right? Do I need to explain to you what I'm looking at? I have my reasons for looking at it, Beiming said coldly. Humph. There's still a reason? If you can see through the enchantment, then you're the best. Wuji curled his lips. Beiming was originally staring at Wuji, so he was not looking at the scenery. However, Wuji's provocation gave him a flash of inspiration. Such a large area of infernal mirage flowers must have been artificially planted. Are you just only realizing things? Of course such a large area naturally can't have grown naturally. Wuji curled his lips and said with a disdainful tone. Beiming ignored him and continued. Since it was planted by humans, then the godly devil hall must have sent people here. And there must be more than one person. Yet the demonic beasts have never noticed anything unusual. What does this mean? Yinchujio clapped her hands. It means that they must have activated an isolation array when they planted it, but that's not the point. The point is that they can come and go freely. Either they have set up a teleportation array here, or this place is close to the enchantment. Beiming curled his lips. That's right, what little Gio said makes sense. So, we just need to focus on the vicinity of this field of infernal mirage flowers, and we will definitely find something. A teleportation array costs a lot of resources, and it takes a long time to set up. So it is very likely to be right next to the enchantment. The people from the godly devil hall most likely opened a gap in the enchantment before they came in. Yinchujio jumped up happily and told everyone and the beast's Beiming's deduction. Hope rekindled in everyone's hearts again, and they began to look for the enchantment separately. Although the area of this infernal mirage flower was not small, there were many cultivators and demon beasts. They put in their best efforts and finally, a day later they found something. Yinchujio did not expect that the one who found the enchantment was the golden tortoise. The story went like this. Everyone and the other beasts set off to find the enchantment. The golden tortoise did not want to be outdone. Unfortunately, it could not climb far despite trying its best. Yinchujio saw that it was too slow, so she decided to be playful. Little shell, you are too slow. Come, I will send you off. Little Gio's Shadowless kick. After saying that, she kicked the golden tortoise. The golden tortoise flew 1,000 feet away by Yinchujio. And then a strange scene happened. The golden tortoise hit something and was bounced back. Both the golden tortoise and Yinchujio were dumbfounded. He had found the location of the enchantment just like that. Yinchujio rubbed her eyes and asked the golden tortoise with a slightly trembling voice. Little shell, did you just bounce against something? The golden tortoise nodded its head rapidly. He felt that his luck was really good recently. First, his crippled leg had been healed by the little devil. Then he had escaped the fate of being eaten by a high-level demon beast. Now he had found the location of the barrier by accident. There was no one else like him. Chapter 890. Little Gio's Shadowless kick. Yinchujio quickly ran to the spot where the golden tortoise had bounced against. She threw a bolt of lightning in front of her, and sure enough, her spiritual power attack hit something. Ha ha ha. She laughed so hard that she fell back and forth. Blessed people don't need to be busy. I didn't expect that I would find the enchantment with just one kick. My little Gio's Shadowless kick is too cool. There were dozens of onlookers nearby. They stared at each other. How could things work like this? Damn it. They had been searching for the enchantment for months without finding anything. The little shell found it with one kick from the little devil. Were the heavens bullying them because they were uneducated? This was too fucking unfair. Little sister Little Gio, you are so awesome. You are the person that I admire the most. Wuji immediately began to flatter her. Yinchujio was laughing so hard that she could not close her mouth, but she still pretended to be modest. I'm just SOSO, SOSO, SOSO. Beiming was calculating in his heart. No matter what, he had to find something for Wuji to do after leaving the enchantment. He was getting annoying. Everyone, quickly call back those people and beasts. Let's discuss how to break the enchantment and seize the moment, Beiming said to those onlookers and beasts. The crowd and the beasts immediately went to deliver the message happily. Not long after, the others rushed back at the fastest speed in their lives. Little Jiu, did you really find the enchantment? How did you find it? I heard that it involved kicking a tortoise. What happened? Elder Chu asked anxiously. I'm the kindest person. I saw that this golden tortoise crawled too slowly, so I used my little Jiu's Shadowless kick to send it off. Then it coincidentally bumped into the enchantment and bounced against it. The corner of Yin Chujia's mouth was so proud that it could not be hidden. She felt that this matter could be bragged about for years. Everyone and the other beasts listened to Yin Chujia's story, and were also dumbfounded. The difference between the abilities of humans was too big. It was really a blow to regular people. However, they were more concerned about how to break the enchantment. They were already going crazy being trapped here for so long. Moreover, the godly devil hall might have already made a move outside. Almost half of the high-level cultivators of the Azure Mystic continent were trapped here. If the godly devil hall made a move now, things would be dire. After Yin Chujio divided everyone into groups, they began to take turns attacking the barrier. Yin Chujio also released the demonic beasts of the West Valley, and asked them to help attack the enchantment together. She also warned those high-level demonic beasts not to hurt them, or they would be struck by lightning to their death. Those high-level demonic beasts had already eaten their fill. Naturally, they would not be so stupid as to openly defy Yin Chujio, this little devil. They let out a few roars as a sign of agreement. This enchantment was much stronger than the ancient sword tombs. This was because the ancient sword tomb's enchantment had been greatly depleted by the Wu Yin there expending much of its energy. However, the spiritual energy here was abundant. Fortunately, there were many cultivators and demon beasts. They could replenish their spiritual energy by taking turns to attack. However, cultivators could take fasting pills and food. Those demon beasts, however, did not have a reliable food source. They could only stare and starve. Even their attacks were not as fierce as before. Yin Chujio thought for a moment, and she painfully took out a lot of low-level demonic beast corpses from the Great Void Mystic Realm, and fed those demonic beasts. She thought to herself, when I get out of here, I'll have to earn back twice as much of these things, or else I'll suffer a huge loss. Everyone was busy attacking the enchantment, so they did not pay much attention to Yin Chujia's actions. Even if they saw it, they thought that these demonic beast corpses were collected by Yin Chujio during the trial. They thought to themselves, this Yin Chujio is really greedy. She even collected the corpses of these low-level demonic beasts. She does not waste anything at all. Chapter 891. A dish of pills. Everyone and the demonic beasts kept up the attacks for a full 10 days. Although there were ripples on the barrier, there were no signs of cracks. However, everyone had little spiritual power left. Although they could take turns to rest, they had been using up their spiritual power faster than the rate at which they could recover. Everyone was a little discouraged. After all, this was an ancient formation. How could it be so easy to break the barrier? Previously, in the ancient sword tomb, it was because the rune spirit had fallen for Yin Chujia's trick. That was why they had taken advantage of it. This time, they were afraid that they would not be able to escape using the same method. Everyone, don't be discouraged. Take out all the spirit gathering pills and explosive spirit pills in your storage rings, and consume them. If there are any medicinal herbs, pass them to me and a few alchemists. We will immediately start refining pills for you. You must persevere, or else all your previous efforts will be wasted. The spring breeze blows and the war drums beat. Who have we ever been afraid of? Everyone charge. Yin Chujio took out a small pink veil, and waved it vigorously. Everyone and the other beasts were immediately energized by Yin Chujia's words. They swallowed the medicinal pills one by one. Moreover, there was no distinction between humans and beasts now. While they ate, they also tossed some food to the demonic beasts, and the crowd began a new round of attacks. Yin Chujio and the other alchemists began to refine more explosive spirit pills. She did not use the Heaven and Earth Universal Furnace. Instead, she took out an alchemy furnace that she usually used in her sect, and began to refine the explosive spirit pills. Then, the so-called high-level alchemists of the Azure Mystic continent were dumbfounded. They saw that Yin Chujio could refine a batch of explosive spirit pills in less than 15 minutes. Moreover, all of them had a 100% success rate. What was even more abnormal was that 10 of them were all super-grade explosive spirit pills. Elder Qi had always suspected that Yin Chujio had been hiding her strength, so that he would not lose face. At this moment he was even more convinced of this idea. This little girl's talent in refining pills was simply too shocking. Yin Chujio used the corner of her eyes to sweep across the dumbfounded crowd. She hurriedly said, "Everyone, don't just stand there. Hurry up and refine the pills. Whether or not we can break through the enchantment will depend on us." Only then did the crowd come back to their senses and resumed refining the pills. Although they were not as abnormal as Yin Chujio, they were still the top alchemists of the Azure Mystic continent. Soon, a large batch of explosive spirit pills appeared on the ground. However, something seemed strange. They were placed on big dishes by Yin Chujio. Those alchemists were dumbfounded. When had they ever used the big dishes to hold the pills? At the very least, they had used a gourd to hold it. It was an eye-opener for them. Yin Chujio said with conviction, "It's convenient for them to use their hands to hold it in a bowl. Moreover, it's intuitive. You can see the number of pills refined at a glance." Another 10 days passed. Cracks began to appear in the enchantment, but it was not large enough to let these people and demonic beasts out. Yin Chujio began to think again. She waved her pink veil and shouted, "The dawn of victory beckons to us. This is the moment of darkness before dawn. As long as we persevere, victory will definitely belong to us. Do you guys want to have a good meal? Do you guys want to have a good sleep? As long as we persevere for another 3 days, the enchantment will definitely break. I have high hopes for you guys." Sleeping was now an attractive prospect to everyone and the beasts. They only had a short period of time to take turns to rest for the past few days. They had suffered from a serious lack of sleep, and now they were completely relying on their spiritual essence to support themselves. With Yin Chujio's bluff, everyone persisted for another 3 days. Although the crack had become a little bigger, it was still not enough for everyone to pass through. Yin Chujio changed her strategy, combined 2 groups into 1 group and double the strength. The enchantment will definitely be broken tomorrow. In fact, she was not sure if the enchantment could be broken the next day. However, in order to encourage them, they believed her and rushed forward again. Chapter 892. Saviour Tax. The crack in the enchantment was big enough for more than a dozen people to pass through the next day. Yin Chujio smugly touched her nose. What had she said earlier? The prediction was accurate. Everyone work harder. When the crack grows bigger, rush out according to the order of attack. Don't worry. The 5 of us will stay at the end. We will ensure that you can get out safely. Yin Chujio continued to wave the small veil and shouted. Initially, everyone felt a little uneasy when they saw that Yin Chujio, Beiming, and the other 3 did not participate in the attack. Now that they heard Yin Chujio say this, they could not help but feel ashamed. It was a textbook definition of not judging a book by its cover. They thought that they were slacking off, but in the end, they were the ones who were going to stay behind for everyone's sake. Some took the initiative to ask the last batch to evacuate together with Yin Chujio and the others. Yin Chujio nodded in agreement, and remembered all these people in her heart. These were the people who could be befriended in the future. At the critical moment, one could even see a person's true character. Another day passed. The crack was by then large enough for dozens of people to rush out together. Yin Chujio let the cultivators retreat first according to the order, and the demonic beasts were put into her spirit beast bag. She complained in his heart. The spirit beast bag that was given to me by the pretty boy seemed to have limitless capacity. It can actually continue to hold so many demonic beasts. Beiming learned from the lesson of the ancient sword tomb, and did not leave Yin Chujio's side for a moment. Wuji also stayed by her side, ready to be a hero at the critical moment to save the damsel in distress. However, the evacuation was uneventful. Chujio and the last group of people also safely withdrew from the enchantment. When the cultivators who went ahead saw Chujio and the others exit the barrier, they immediately cheered. At that time, it was already evening outside. The sunset glow in the sky was particularly gorgeous. When everyone saw the beautiful scene in front of them, they felt as if a lifetime had passed. Those cultivators thanked Chujio in droves. Some of them even had red eyes. They would have hugged Chujio's thigh and howled were it was not for the fact they would get in trouble for doing that to a woman. Before Chujio could say anything, Wuji curled his lips and said, "You should at least be sincere in your thanks, right? My little ninth sister risked her life to save you. She has no blood relations with you. Yet you have the nerve to say a few words of thanks and it's over? Do you think it's appropriate for you to let my little ninth sister enter such a perilous place and return empty-handed? Do you think you can live with your conscience if you go back like this? Aren't you afraid that you would be haunted by guilt in the future? Don't you know what my little ninth sister likes the most? Spirit stones, spirit tools, spirit herbs, anything is fine. My little ninth sister is just too shy to accept them. I'll keep them for her. Come on everyone. I guess you're tired too. After you give your thanks, you can go to sleep. Brother Wuji, how can you say that? You are trying to repay us with kindness. That is not right. Everyone, don't listen to my brother. I have never asked for anything in return when I do good things. You don't have to feel guilty. Although I feel a little regretful that I didn't pick any spirit herbs, and although I almost died in there and suffered some psychological damage, you really don't have to give me any thanks. You really don't have to give me any spirit tools, spirit herbs, or spirit stones. Chujio said with a smile. Everyone was speechless. Do you think we are all fools? You two are playing good cop, bad cop. This is a trick to get something. However, everyone did not object. How much was life worth? Life was priceless. Not to mention that the little girl only wanted a small token of appreciation. Even if she wanted all of their wealth, they would give it to her. Chapter 893. Shameless and Invincible. Everyone took out their gifts one after another. Spirit stones, spirit herbs, and spirit tools swooshed into Chujio's storage ring. Although Chujio said she did not want them, she did not reject them either, and kept them all in her storage ring. Aya, you guys are too polite. Just give us 18 million spirit stones, 180 earth-rank high-grade spirit herbs, or 10 spirit tools. There's really no need to give us more. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. Didn't you just say you were rejecting our gifts? How is this a rejection of us giving you too little? You greedy little girl. Chujio looked at the pile of gifts that were growing rapidly in her storage ring. Her heart was very still, but her eyelashes bloomed with joy. TSK, seems I've made a small fortune again. How satisfying. Chujio released the high-grade demonic beasts from the spirit beast bag and asked for their wishes. Most of them were willing to let Chujio send them to a suitable location. A small portion of them directly jumped into the valley nearby. Everyone discussed what to do next for a moment. In the past few days, their consumption of spiritual power and physical strength was too severe. They decided to rest there for 2 days before returning to their respective sections. With everyone gathered together, they could take turns being on guard. This was also safer to avoid any accidents. Right now, these people were left with less than 1/10 of their spiritual energy. If they went off alone and encountered people from the godly devil hall, they were as good as dead. Chujio and Beiming fared better. After all, they only acted at the last moment. Although Chujio had refined a lot of pills, she was too monstrous. She was fine. The next morning, she was already alive and kicking and took the initiative to request to be on guard duty. Those cultivators wished that they could sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, I think the time for a confrontation with the godly devil hall is approaching. However, their secret technique is too strange. If we can't break the secret teleportation technique, it will be really difficult for us to finish them off. Think about it. If they can't beat us, they just run. We will be too passive. Yin Chujio held a spirit fruit in her hand as she leaned back on the recliner, and said with a frown, "That's right. Moreover, we have only seen 2 secret techniques of the red spider lily. Their power is so astonishing. Perhaps there are other secret techniques. I'm afraid it won't be easy to eliminate the Godly Devil Hall." Beiming frowned. "This Godly Devil Hall is too strange. Moreover, I'm afraid we've only seen the tip of the iceberg." Wuji sighed. "Little Sister Jiu, it's a pity that our cultivators from the Tianyuan continent are not only limited in spiritual power, but also punished by heaven for killing people. Even if we want to help you, there is a limit. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, evil cannot prevail over good. Moreover, since the Godly Devil Hall has been lurking in the dark, it means that they must have a weakness. Either they are short-handed or the master is also limited in his spiritual power. In short, the cultivators of the Azure Mystic continent have the geographical advantage, and we will win sooner or later." Yin Chujia's tone was firm, her eyes shone with confidence. "Little Sister Jiu, I admire your optimistic personality. How do you do it?" Wuji asked curiously. "It's very simple. Brother Wuji, have you heard of a saying?" Wuji picked up a teacup and asked, "What is it?" Yin Chujo said slowly, "A tree without skin will die without a doubt. A man with thick skin is invincible in the world." Uft. Wuji, who was drinking tea, immediately spat it out. Fortunately, Yin Chujo reacted quickly and jumped to the side. Otherwise, she would have bathed in tea. Chapter 894. The Fall of the 3 Sects. Little Sister Jiu, I'm sorry. I didn't expect you to say that. I'm surprised, but what you said makes sense. I've always thought about how much is face worth. It's only true if you get something in return. Wuji said with a smile. Brother Wuji, you're right. Let others say what they want to say. It's not like they have a lot to offer anyway. When you're much stronger than them, they'll naturally shut up. Just like before, many people said that I'm trash, I'm ugly, and so on. I didn't even bother to pay attention to them because I know that a talented, city-toppling fairy like me will shine sooner or later. Yin Chujo said proudly. And Feng stood at the side, the corners of his eyes slightly twitching. Miss Jiu, I admit that what you said is true, but is it really good for you to praise yourself like this? At that moment, the voice transmission talisman in Enfeng's storage ring started to vibrate. After Enfeng used his divine sense to read the message, his face instantly turned pale. Your Majesty, Miss Jiu, something happened. The leader of the Heavenly Gate Sect, Du Gai, had joined the Godly Devil Hall. The Godly Devil Hall has started to attack the other 3 great sects with the Heavenly Gate Sect as its base. The Bixiao Palace and the Skyblade Sect have been taken over by the Godly Devil Hall, because a spy was working for them. The survivors have all gathered at the Spirit Radiance Sect, which was barely able to maintain itself with the protection of the sect's great array. In addition, the Godly Devil Hall has captured all the civilians in the cities near the 4 great sections. They probably want to set up an evil array. Although the Yun Mansion is protected by the secret guards and the Thunder Sects people. But, Enfeng could not continue. Yin Chujia's heart froze. But what? But just last night, a mysterious woman from the Godly Devil Hall came. Her spiritual power was extremely high, and she used the secret technique of the Red Spider Lily to capture Old Master Yin. She also left a message saying that she will meet you in front of the Spirit Radiance Sect's main gate in half a month, and asks you to exchange his life for your own. Yin Chujia's head buzzed. She recalled what Yin Xiaotian had said before, and she felt extremely regretful. She should have let her grandfather and the others enter the Spirit Radiance Sect at that time. Even though the secret guards and the Thunder Sects people had high spiritual power, the secret techniques of the Godly Devil Hall were too unpredictable, and it was simply impossible to guard against them. Little Jiu, you don't have to worry too much. Since they used Old Master Yin to threaten you, they won't do anything to Old Master Yin for the time being. Beiming comforted her. That's right, little sister, little Jiu. There's still me. At most, it'll be struck by a few heavenly lightning bolts. Big brother can handle it. Shui Wuji saw Yin Chujia's small face filled with self-blame and worry, and his heart ached. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, you don't have to worry about me. Let's return immediately. The godly devil hall? I don't care if it's a god or a devil. If it dares to provoke my family, I'll send them to hell. Yin Chujia's small face was full of determination. There seemed to be two small flames burning in her eyes. If you dare to touch my grandfather, I will destroy you. After Yin Chujia woke everyone up, she told them what had happened. Everyone immediately became confused. What? The Bixiao Palace and the Skyblade Sect were both conquered? Those are sects with 10,000 years of history. How could they be conquered just like that? The members of the Heavenly Gates sect were especially confused. They could not believe their ears. The entirety of the Heavenly Gates sect had joined the Godly Devil Hall. How was this possible? Even if Du Gai couldn't figure it out, weren't there other elders? They just let Du Gai do whatever he wanted. Chapter 895. I am little Ancestor Yin of the Spirit Radiance sect. Everyone, calm down and listen to me for a moment. Yin Chujio leaped onto a huge rock and shouted at everyone. At that moment, Yin Chujio was someone everyone highly looked up to. Hearing her words, everyone's discussion gradually quieted down, and they all looked towards Yin Chujio. Yin Chujio did not speak immediately. Instead, she released all the demonic beasts in the spirit beast pouch. Then, she said with a cold expression, we once discovered an evil formation of the Godly Devil Hall in Longping Mountain. Its methods were cruel, and the scene was so horrific that it made one's hair stand on end. Tens of thousands of demonic beasts were chained to the ground or suspended in the air. Their blood and vitality flowed into the evil formation of the Godly Devil Hall, and that evil formation was used to search for the Eye of the Earth. Now that the Godly Devil Hall had captured the citizens of several cities, it will probably be used for the evil formation again. The Godly Devil Hall's ultimate goal is this: to find the Eye of the Earth and then absorb all the chi in the Eye of the Earth. At that time, our Azure Mystic Continent would then become a secular land without any spiritual chi. At that time, whether it was humans or demon beasts, the path of longevity would be lost. The Godly Devil Hall is not my enemy alone, nor is it just the enemy of the four great sections. They are the enemies of the entire Azure Mystic Continent. It was true that the Godly Devil Hall had a mysterious background, and even possess a strange secret technique of the Red Spider Lily. However, I, Yin Chujio, firmly believe in one truth, that evil cannot prevail over good. As long as we are united, we can definitely drive this so-called Godly Devil Hall out of the Azure Mystic Continent, or destroy completely it. Everyone, whether it was for our own great path of immortality, or the lives of our relatives, friends, and future generations, we only have one choice now, and that is to unite as one. Regardless of whether we are humans or demonic beasts, regardless of whether we are men, women, or young, we must all contribute our strength to protect our home. Why is there still hot blood flowing in our bodies? Because that is our inextinguishable fighting spirit. Even the ancient enchantment could not hold us, and even the shackles of the Tian Dao could not make us lose our desire to obtain immortality. What else can stop us from protecting our home? Now, the Godly Devil Hall forces have already begun moving to make their evil plan come true. We must eliminate them before they completely gain a foothold, and return the Azure Mystic Continent to a bright and peaceful state, instead of living under the shadow of death forever. I, Yin Chujio, swear on my life that I will not rest until the Godly Devil Hall is destroyed. If everyone trusts me, then follow me back to the Spirit Radiance sect, and well destroy the Godly Devil Hall in one fell swoop after meeting up with the survivors. In addition, my other identity has never been announced. I am not the personal disciple of Elder Sun Boizhong of the Spirit Radiance sect. I am the personal disciple of Patriarch Linghua of the Spirit Radiance sect, which is also the first generation of disciples of the Spirit Radiance sect. Xianyuan Changkong and the others call me Little Ancestor Yin. This is also the reason why my position in the Spirit Radiance sect is so special. It is also the reason why I would rather risk my life to save all of you. It is because I have a responsibility and a mission on my shoulders. Now, I will take this 9th heaven silver dragon wind fire rod that my master left me, and lead all of you back to the Spirit Radiance sect. After everyone and the beasts heard Yunchuji's words, they immediately felt the blood in their bodies boil. There was only one thought in their minds, and that was to destroy the godly Devil Hall. They would not let them destroy the Azure Mystic Continent. The disciples of the Spirit Radiance sect knelt on the ground. The disciples of the Spirit Radiance sect greet little Ancestor Yun. Chapter 896. Submission. These elders of the Spirit Radiance sect actually felt that having such a small ancestor was too embarrassing. At that moment, they were incomparably grateful that they had one in Yun Chujio. Not only had she saved the Spirit Radiance sect from danger several times, but now that the Azure Mystic Continent was in danger, she was the one to step forward. Just as Yun Chujio had said back then, there would come a day when the Spirit Radiance sect would be proud of her. At that moment, not only was she the pride of our Spirit Radiance sect, but she was also the pride of the entire Azure Mystic Continent. The young girl on the tall rock no longer had her usual cheeky personality. Instead, she exuded an awe-inspiring aura, a conviction that she would win, causing people to involuntarily submit to her and trust her. The numerous demon beasts raised their heads and roared, kneeling in front of her to represent their submission. It was true that they were high-level demon beasts, and some of them had even higher spiritual power than Yun Chujio. However, at that moment, they were willing to follow this young girl, fighting side by side with the humans to protect their home. Many cultivators were affected by the majestic atmosphere, and could not help but kneel. At that moment, in their eyes, they had already forgotten about Yun Chujio's age. Saving their lives twice, having a shocking talent for cultivation, unparalleled intelligence, and being the personal disciple of Patriarch Linghua, were enough to make up for the lack of age. They were willing to accept the young girl's command, and they were also extremely confident that she would lead them to take back their home. Beiming stood at the side, and looked at the girl who was like the god of war. His heart was filled with tenderness and pride. He had never seen little Gio like this before, but it made him even more moved. It made him willing to protect her. Wuji's heart was also filled with awe. He felt like his heart was about to stop beating. How could he not be moved by such a girl? Secret Agent Huahua looked at her young master's infatuation, and sighed inwardly. That's right, how could such a woman not move his heart? Her beautiful appearance would fade with time, but this boldness, this calmness, and this sense of responsibility transcended both age and gender. As time passed, the young master would probably be unable to extricate himself. And Feng was also deeply moved. He could only say that his young master had a unique eye. Thinking back to that little black trash back then, who would have thought that in less than 3 years, she would bloom with such brilliance? If the palace mistress saw this scene unfold, would she change her opinion of the 9th miss? Although the 9th miss was still unable to compare with the other young ladies of the Tianyuan continent, she would sooner or later become the most dazzling existence in the Tianyuan continent. No one was more suitable than her to stand beside His Excellency. Yun Chujio looked at the cultivators and demonic beasts kneeling on the ground, and with a firm expression, she said, "Everyone, thank you for your trust in me, Yun Chujio. As long as you give me time, I will definitely give you a bright future. Now those who heard my name, stand by my right hand. I have other arrangements for you. The rest of you stand by." Seeing Yun Chujio's calmness and maturity that did not match her age, everyone felt even more confident in their hearts and nodded in agreement. Spirit Radiance Sects Zhou Zhao Rui Chao Bin He Hongwen. Heavenly Gates Sects Zhongling Bai Mu Yen, Gufeng Chu Yufeng. Skyblade Sects Shi Yinyu, Yi Zhanli, Situ Tsangyu, Linghao. Bixiao Palaces Shengguanyu, by Muying Lu Yushuang, Zhao Yuping. 7-Star Sword Sects by Chun Luo Wenba, Flying Tiger Villas Yu Hongwen. Yun Chujio read out the names of over 100 people in one breath. Everyone was shocked. How did Yun Chujio know the names of these people? It was fine if she knew those from the Spirit Radiance sect, but a large majority of the names were not. How did she know the names of the others, especially the itinerant cultivators? Chapter 897. A proclamation of battle. The people that Yin Chujio called out were the last batch of cultivators who voluntarily stayed behind with her group. Yin Chujio took note of their names and remembered them after hearing them once. The hundreds of people whose names were called out were ushered to the side by Yin Chujio. After Yin Chujio activated an isolation array, she said to everyone, "Everyone, the reason why I called out your names is firstly because your spiritual power is among the best among the people here. Secondly, after a period of observation, I completely trust your character. Therefore, I am more assured when I will leave the next task to you." Before Yin Chujio mentioned the task, she first put on a high hat for everyone. Everyone immediately felt a sense of honor and pride, and they straightened their backs. 5 of you will form a group. Each group will be responsible for an area. You have 2 missions. The first is to investigate the other strongholds of the Godly Devil Hall. The second is to expose the Godly Devil Hall's evils to the public. I will write a proclamation of battle later, after you post it up everywhere, and make the people of the Godly Devil Hall seem like street rats. This way, someone will report their whereabouts the minute they show up. Let them have no place to hide in the Azure Mystic Continent. Don't feel regretful for not participating in the battle with the Godly Devil Hall. What you will do is as important as the battle. If complete these 2 tasks well, you will cut off the Godly Devil Hall's escape route, giving them no chance to make a comeback in the future. Otherwise, even if we defeat them now, they will use secret arts to escape and secretly rebuild their forces. Therefore, the task given to you is very important. You must do your best. Yin Chujio's expression was solemn, and the aura emanating from her body made people shudder in fear. No one dared to raise any objections. Firstly, they were intimidated by Yin Chujio's aura. Secondly, what Yin Chujio said was reasonable. They had to cut off the Godly Devil Hall's escape route. Otherwise, even if they destroyed them now, they would still strike again in the future. Seeing that no one had any objections, Yin Chujio separated them into groups, and then withdrew the isolation array. Yin Chujio took out a pen and paper from her storage ring, and wrote a proclamation of battle. The basic content was similar to what she had said previously. After she finished writing, she saw her own crooked handwriting and felt that she really couldn't bring herself to do it. Hence, she activated the isolation array. "Prince Charming, help me copy it in fancier handwriting." The corner of Beiming's eyes twitched, but he still helped Yin Chujio copy the proclamation. Yin Chujio saw the article that Beiming wrote, and then looked at her own. She decisively destroyed the one that she wrote. The difference was too fucking embarrassing. Yin Chujio shamelessly handed the article that Beiming wrote to everyone. "Here, I just finished writing this. You guys take it and copy it." After everyone took the paper and read it, they praised it again and again. The content was not mentioned for the time being, but the writing was too good. The ink was like a hook, vigorous and powerful. The momentum was magnificent, like a flood dragon coming out of the water. Yin Chujio neither admitted nor denied that it was her handiwork. She just smiled and did not say anything. She thought to herself, "There's no difference between me and the pretty boy. What's his is mine, and what's mine is his. Therefore, praising me and praising him are all the same." After the arrangements were made, Yin Chujio waved her hands, and everyone split into their respective groups and boarded several flying spirit tools. A portion of them went on missions while the majority of them followed Yin Chujio back to the Spirit Radiance Sect. When they were still 3 days away from the Spirit Radiance Sect, everyone received another piece of bad news. The Spirit Radiance Sect's Grand Array had been broken, and both sides were embroiled in a chaotic battle. Everyone turned pale from fright. The Spirit Radiance Sect's Grand Array was the strongest among the 4 great sections. How could it be broken by the Godly Devil Hall? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.